settle the bills or the debt that they have with the international market, and some other Zimbabweans doubled the number because they wanted to contribute towards a noble cause. Mugabe handed the $1 million check to the AU at its Leaders Summit in Ethiopia. Lila Nodera has more details.
Robert Mugabe is among the heads of state gathered at the AU headquarters in the Ethiopian capital for a biannual meeting that comes as fears rise of mass starvation because of conflict and biting drought. His donation comes amid severe cash and food crisis in Zimbabwe. Last year, more than 4 million people were in need of food aid in the southern African state after rains failed. However, there has been a bumper harvest this year, with the country expected to be self-sufficient for the first time in years.
I'm privileged to hand over to Your Excellency, Mr. Chairman, a check for 1 million being the proceeds of the sale of over 300 cattle for the capacitation of the African Union Foundation.
AU Commission head Musa Faki Mahamat, in the meantime, criticized member states for a lack of solidarity shown to nations on the continent.
In the face of the terrible tragedy of famine in these regions, what happened to the African values of solidarity and fraternity? What happened to our civil society? What happened with our private sector and our benefactors? The tragedy of our brothers in Somalia, South Sudan, in the Lake Chad region and in the Sahel cries out from the deepest of our consciences and from the deepest of our persons.
Faki's election came days after the United Nations said the world was facing the worst humanitarian crisis since the end of the Second World War, with 20 million people facing malnutrition and famine in Yemen, Somalia, South Sudan, and Nigeria. An official declaration of famine in South Sudan was lifted in June after 4 months, though the starvation there and the 3 other countries remain desperate. The situation could be set to worsen as the much-anticipated rainy season in the Horn of Africa draws to a close. The rains were declared sufficiently below average by the weather monitoring group FuseNet. The AU summit will focus on issues including how to reform the body and make it financially independent from foreign donors. Africa is also facing security challenges with threats in the Sahel and unresolved crisis in the Democratic Republic of Congo and South Sudan.
We keep our full strength on the imperative of reducing tensions and putting first political solutions in our regions, where the tensions unfortunately remain very high. The aim to silence the guns by 2020 is our horizon.
The AU leaders also highlighted a lack of progress in deploying a regional protection force authorized by the UN last year. While there is little sign of a breakthrough on the major crisis afflicting the continent, Faki was resolute in making security a priority. Lilian Odera, KTN News.
Well, that's all we had, Landa, for you here on News Desk. Many thanks for staying with us. Up next is Business Today, so don't go too far. My name is Akisa Wandera. Good afternoon.